Delhi for a training program. So I asked him, what does your father do? And he says, my father is a taxi driver in Bombay.
Wow.
And I said,
that's amazing.
I don't know what to say. Then I said, but where do you guys come from? He said, Eastern UP. His dad came here in 87 or 88 or something in that period. And that was the only job he could do. And he had educated both of his sons to college. And there was this kid.
Fantastic.
And he's another brother. So after a while, he asked about me, and I told him who I am. And then as I was leaving, I said, I'm sure one day you will be CEO of Eli Lilly Worldwide. And he said, yeah.
That's very, very nice, very nice.
He was perfectly confident that he will get there. So this is India too.
I will come back to the entrepreneurship thing, and I want your reflection on that. But before that, since we are having a nice flow of conversation here, Kiran, you talked about the derivative India and how she talked about when we were having a conversation some time back. And she was talking about how for the first time, very first time, since us becoming an independent country, or probably even older than that, as a nation, as a society, we are departing from being a derivative country. Tell us a little more about your thought on that.
Well, I sort of was growing up, I think, at a time when we were still fairly colonial as a nation. And I mean, I sort of, when I look at my education and I look at Calcutta back then, as Marxist as it was, there were education and all our institutions were still fairly colonial. And all my references, for instance, are not Indian references. So I, very often felt that I don't really know my country well enough. I mean, I grew up in a little bit of a bubble of Calcutta with being educated, being from a particular part of society. And as when I came to Bombay after, did my college here and came back to work here, I found that cable television, of course, had just started and had just picked up, and Indian channels were now on air. And I could see the struggle to build a particular cultural identity for the youth of this nation through music channels, through other kinds of cultural spaces. And it was all fairly, it was all very interesting and exciting and a lot of use of kitsch, but there was a struggle to determine, it was always a little bit of an amused look at India. So we were still on the outside. It was always a look at India which was tongue-in-cheek to say, oh, we are like this only, we do all these bizarre things, and let's accept ourselves. It was an interesting take, and it was, I think, the first step to being able to admit that we have so many kinds of Indians. We have so many cultures that are ours, and that may not be mine, may not be yours, but are ours. And from there, I feel we have now, in the last 10